Yeah. What's up, Arthur?
What's up, Luke? We are live right now. There's nobody here watching us, but we'll see what happens here. Let me refresh the old Facebook page to see if we're online here.
Text
Video is now live.
So I'm feeling
What's
good
going
after
on,
that
Luke?
episode.
Yeah, man, I'm hungry. Makes me hungry.
Yeah.
It makes me, I haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm a late eater, so that usually kills me with Wisconsin Foodie. Is like, it just it inspires my my dinner for that evening.
Wow, this isn't Spain, Arthur. You can eat at a at a time that's polite. My goodness.
Oh, Luke, welcome back. The Wisconsin Foodie Live week number 2. It's very exciting. It was a great episode. I mean, for us, we love the cheese episodes. Like, honestly, it could be Cheesy Foodie or Wisconsin Cheesy. And we could be profiling cheesemakers every week because we've got so many incredible cheesemakers here in Wisconsin. Like, the list is endless. They just keep rolling and rolling. As you saw tonight, we have people like Maddie who, probably, I'm guessing she was like 12 years old when we started Wisconsin Foodie. And now she's a cheesemaker. So, so it's just, you're seeing new cheesemakers come up. You're seeing old cheesemakers still grinding out there. It's a fantastic story. It never gets old, even though the process is always pretty much the same, right? Milk comes into the tank. They add the cultures, they churn it, they let it sit, they drain the whey, they cut it up, they make it into curd, they put it into form, it is same thing, but all the cheesemakers very unique, and their like personality really gets into these, and that's what makes the flavor so amazing. That's what makes Wisconsin so amazing. So while we're on that topic, before we invite our guests, we got 2 very important guests tonight from Emmy Roth. We have Madeline Kuhn, the star of tonight's episode. She is the research and development specialist for Emmy Roth, as well as, just a straight up OG cheesemaker. So we also have Emily King, who's the marketing manager of special projects, whatever the case may be. She's it, and she is incredible. So excited to have them with us in a couple minutes here. First, I wanted to send a shout out to our amazing underwriters. Without them, there would be no us. We wouldn't be sitting here, Luke, talking to the people. Those underwriters are, can you name them off the top of your head, Luke?
Well, I think it would be easiest to start with Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin, which is so great that they're a part of this. Organic Valley from
Yes,
my neck of the nape. But then we worked down the list. And Arthur, why don't you help me out here so I don't forget?
No, we got
concerned. I never want to
forget. New Glarus Brewing Company, fantastic humans. 2 of my favorite humans in all of Wisconsin. Devin Tankary. They could, they should be running the state, to be honest with you. The Conscious Carnivore, something special in Wisconsin. Central Wisconsin Craft Collective. We've got Crossroads Collective, lots of collectives in our group here. We've got Viroqua Food Co-op, another collective. Jay Henry and Sons. We also got Rutabaga Paddle Sports, one of your favorite, the Canoeist, and the Friends of PBS Wisconsin. Without them, without on any of these folks, there would be no Wisconsin Foodie. So we're eternally grateful for their support. And without further ado, I think we should invite our friends to this broadcast here. So, Maddie and Emily, welcome to the show.
Hey guys.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.
Well,
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for being a part of our show and part of our live kind of talk back after the show. What did you guys think? I know, what did you think about seeing yourself, Maddie, on camera? I mean, it's one thing to be there with the cameras in your face and like talking to us, but it's a totally different experience watching what we put together. What did you think? Was it tough for you, or do you think we did a good job representing you?
I think you did an excellent job representing Emmy Roth in general, and I was really tickled to watch the episode. The movie magic is incredible to me. Doing something like this is never a natural thing for me, and so to have a really talented team come in and put it all together and put on an amazing show is really special.
That's awesome.
Well, see, Maddie is correct, and she's also being modest. Maddie is like really awesome on film. I know that from doing some internal work. So like bravo to all of you. It was like so thrilling to see it in, you know, in that medium. You guys know the industry so well, and you know, just seeing you make magic out of that is always a real privilege.
Yeah, so we're kind of talking. Sorry, Luke, go for it.
No, I was gonna say, speaking of making magic, like I really, I'm so excited, and first and foremost, thank you, because I always feel like when we show up to do these shoots, there's a certain amount of like energy that you have to put into kind of hosting us and walking us through the plant, and it is. I was taken aback at like how sophisticated and how large Emmy Roth's operation was and is in Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
Madeline, from a cheesemaker's perspective, right? Like you grew up on a small dairy farm in Fountain City. What is the feeling when you walk into Emmy Roth for the first time, knowing that this is going to be like a place where you get to work your magic?
Oh, I mean, it's, you know, I'm just a food nerd at heart, and so and a science nerd, and so to be able to see the behind the scenes and have sort of that intimate look at it in any fashion is something that I'm always going to be excited about. And so I think it's a great experience, and I'm incredibly grateful to work in this industry and to have that behind the scenes look at it every day. And to appreciate the dedication and the passion that our teams in all of our locations put into the product and reaching these high standards that we have for this great cheese. So, you know, I love to eat it. I like to make it. I like to be part of it.
And Emily, I'm going to kind of turn that on you too. Like, I know, you know, you and I go back and forth a lot because my restaurant's located in Viroqua. Technically, like I live in the Westby School District, but my kids go to school in Viroqua. But you're a Westby kid. You grew up in like the neighboring community. So you and I have a little bit of this rivalry thing that we play off of, and it's energy. But you know, as a Wisconsin kid, what does it do for you to be, you know, marketing and like be at the forefront of messaging for a company that really creates so much identity through the work that Madeline does?
Yeah, great question. It's really, really wonderful to be part of this state. You know, I think that it's changed, the perception has changed quite a lot over the last decade, especially as I've traveled throughout the country and I say where I'm from and people are like, amazing, I've heard Wisconsin is incredible, or I've been to Madison or Milwaukee and, you know, I loved it. And, you know, to be able to promote what Madeline does and what our other cheesemakers do, what our teams do is really, really rad because, you know, a few years back, we won Best Cheese in the World. We know what's coming out of, you know, what's coming out of this state. We know the quality of it. And it's pretty insane that we can take home awards like that, right? And produce some of the best of what we do in the entire world. So there's nothing better. And being a Westby kid, I grew up with cheese curds. You know, Westby cheese curds. Yeah, sure, you betcha. You know, yeah. But and to move, you know, I live in Madison now, and to move here and to see, you know, how important and instrumental food is to our culture. You know, to be able to share that and to tell stories, you know, to tell Madeline's story, to tell the story of the cheese and, you know, the inspiration behind it, the, you know, just people's experiences with it. Because, you know, I think being foodie people, you know, we see food is love, right? So basically I'm just trying to promote love. Like that's really how I feel sometimes, is that I'm promoting a communication and a culture. And it's not just Wisconsin cheddar. Wisconsin cheddar is incredible, right? It's amazing. But there's so much more depth to what we have here. So it's just a blast to be able to be part of it.
That's awesome.
I want to remind folks here too that you know, how Wisconsin Foodie works is, unfortunately, we're on at 2 different times in the state. So Milwaukee, we're on a little bit later, and in Madison and the rest of Wisconsin, we're on at 7 p.m. So there's a couple things you guys can do if you haven't seen the show. You can go to YouTube right now and hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Episodes are, that's not Milwaukee. That's not me.
What's going down in Monroe?
Really not
so people should go to our YouTube channel. There we post the episodes a half an hour before they air on television. So you can go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and then watch every episode before they air anywhere on television. And as well, you can watch it if you're in the Milwaukee area. Watch it on YouTube. I mean, most people that today have smart TVs, they can get up there. It's pretty easy to hook up YouTube and get those episodes rocking before it airs at 9:30. The other thing is you can do, man, write to Milwaukee PBS. Tell them you want to see Wisconsin Foodie earlier. I mean, seriously, it's why is it so late? We got ratings back from Wisconsin Public Television, and we are across the nation a top 10 watch show ratings wise. So people love Wisconsin Foodie, and we want to thank everybody for watching and supporting Wisconsin Foodie. And by supporting us, we can support amazing people like Maddie, Emily, and what they're doing, because their stories are so critical to get out there. And I hate to lean on the woman, the woman cheesemaker or the woman business owner, because I think it should be a natural thing that occurs. It shouldn't be something that we have to hype up. But it's an incredible story here, and we are hyping it up, and it is a fantastic story, especially in the world of cheesemaking, where it's such a good old boys club. It's there's probably a handful of women cheesemakers, but all the women cheesemakers I know in Wisconsin, both goat and cow milk, are incredible human beings. The most unique, the most passionate people I know, the most passionate cheesemakers I know. So kudos to you, Maddie.
Well, thank you. I mean, we couldn't do anything that we do without the people that are really dedicated and passionate about the products and the cheese, just like we are. And so to have an audience and to have an outlet to tell the stories, that's a bigger piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. Hey, Luke, we've got a question here. This is a good one. This is a good discussion topic. So, sorry, Linda, if I get your last name right, but Linda Earthington has asked, how can we help more food artisans thrive and survive in Wisconsin?
Is this a question for me?
Yeah, I'll throw it up to you. If it's a good discussion topic that we can all discuss. But I'll throw it to you.
Sure. So from my perspective, Linda, and to everyone who's watching, I think the way that we really help more artisans thrive and survive, first and foremost, is vote with your dollars. Find those artisans, find their products, and support them. The second thing that really I found has been so impactful, which was kind of the second part of the episode tonight, is storytelling. And being able to develop contacts with amazing artisans like Maddie and having, connect worlds with people like Emily, or maybe it's Andy Hatch, or, anything you can do to give perspective and something beyond like, this is a piece of food on a plate. If I can say like, hey, I met this, and actually like, it was, do you mind if I'm frank with this, Madeline? So like, I had written this menu for this dinner, and I was talking with cheesemongers in Milwaukee and Madison, and I was like, what is this Monroe cheese coming out of Emmy Roth? Because Emmy Roth is known for its Grand Cru and the Gouda and like all these delicious cheeses. But I saw one that really caught my attention. It was when Arthur and I were having lunch at a Whole Foods in Milwaukee and getting a salad, and like, what is this thing? And so like I started reaching out to people in my network. And then like when I actually got to the plant, and what you saw tonight when Maddie showed me those like 20 wheels or so of the Monroe, I had no idea that she was responsible for the R&D of this cheese. I had no idea that I'd be able to even get this. And for me, it was this beautiful, magical moment. And it's one of those moments that like I feel really honored to be able to share. But I think it's so common in the food world, where we show up for each other and we express our love by being able to show up. I can tell the story of Madeline Kuhn, a woman who grew up in Fountain City, Wisconsin, you know, a very small town on the western edge of the state, and have so much love and pride for the work that she does. And then to know her and watch her approach walking through this plant with like this laser focus and articulation, anything you can do to pick up those artisans and tell that story and use your voice as a platform to lift others up. I mean, that dinner that you watched tonight could have been terrible, but the storytelling was so important and it was so much a part of it that like there was no way that it would have been bad. And I think from my perspective, that's at least my formula to lifting up these people, you know, who are doing amazing work.
That's awesome. I'm so upset that I never got to taste that cheese at the dinner. Like usually I can.
You did it?
Usually I sneak dishes. I can sneak all the food behind the scenes. But I was too busy shooting, and the food was going out. It was a bit of a. It's like behind the scenes is a circus, man. That gets crazy back there. But I did not eat that cheese, and kills me to this day. I can't even watch this episode. It makes me sad. Right along.
You know,
And you
Luke,
can't even
I
get
think-
this at Monroe anywhere. Maybe after this episode, this was my whole secret plan with this episode, Maddie, was like, let's do an episode hyping up the Monroe cheese so enough people ask for it, and then we have to bring it back. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, just to be really clear about it, I mean, it came together in the episode so beautifully, but it wasn't. None of that was prearranged. I mean,
Yeah.
It just, the stars aligned, and then it was able to be part of that incredible meal, and tie it all together at the end. But I think the biggest takeaway is that you never really know what you're going to find in the cellars, and that's really one of the great things about making specialty cheese. It's definitely not the easiest, you know, or the fastest way to make cheese, but all of that love and the magic is really in those details, and we're really proud of that.
That's so cool. And you being the research and development specialist, that's a pretty sweet title. So that just means you get to play, right? You get to experiment. You can try new things. You know, Emmy is known for. So for people that don't understand Emmy and Roth, could one of you guys explain that relationship a little bit, and then once you do, Emmy is a global company. You know, where Roth was just the local cheesemaker, Emmy is a big player in the cheese world, right? So to be a part of a company like that, making specialty cheese and being creative, that says a lot about the company. It says a lot about the respect and the respect they probably have for you, to do that within their company. So could you talk a little bit about that relationship, and then being able to play and create these new cheeses?
Emily, I mean, maybe
Yeah.
you can take that.
I can explain the first part, and then I'll let Maddie talk about the awesome things that she does in her R&D. So Roth Cheese and Emmy actually act as two separate brands. So when you go into the store, you're looking for one or the other. Emmy is going to represent our imported cheese. Roth is what we create domestically, specifically in our facilities in Wisconsin, including the stuff that Maddie here gets her hands on. And so Roth has been around in some semblance for almost 100 years. We have roots, you know, from the coast, being able to import cheese. But the most recent history is what I would look at, where Emmy Group, who is the largest milk processor in Switzerland, came over and saw what Roth was doing in Monroe and said, that's amazing, we want to be part of it. So they ended up picking Roth up, and you know, now they act as Roth as a subsidiary, and they still maintain a lot of autonomy, which is incredibly important, right? And part of the reason that we are able to innovate in the way that we are, because there's that mutual respect there. And from our side, we do certain things like the Grand Cru, for instance, is made in the exact way as Gruyere cheese is made, from the copper vats to the spruce boards. down, I mean, to the smallest details, other than the fact that our cows aren't eating Swiss grasses and flowers. And that matters, terroir matters. So as, part of a big Swiss company, we're able to be nimble, but then we also have to admire the work that they do there and respect it. So we call it Grand Cru because it's not Gruyere unless it comes out of there. But what it offers us, being part of Emmy Group is a lot of, ability to move, a lot of, we've got the 30,000 foot view, right? And then when it comes down to Roth, and what Maddie does is that we have so much, that we're able to pull from the expertise from across the world, right? So we're talking, 15 different countries, people from Chile and Tunisia and, Spain, all over Europe, all over South America, Mexico. Like, we have all of that knowledge, which means that when it comes down to being in Monroe, it's an expression of a worldwide company with the best of what Wisconsin has to offer.
Work. I think
She does a much she does a much better job at explaining that than I can, and that's her job, anyways. And then
I should be good at that.
Yeah, from the marketing and storytelling standpoint. I mean, my job and as part of research and development is actually very simple. The biggest things that I am concerned with are supporting our production teams that make the cheese in making it the best that we can. And so, sometimes that's working through challenges and opportunities and troubleshooting. So some of that, the science side and the technical support. And then the other part is the playing around and the actual development. And I work on most, if not all, of new Roth cheeses that come out. I'm a part of that process. And it's a lot of trial and error, but it's, all about learning every step of the way.
Have you made some cheeses that we'll never see and never made the light of day? Were there some just total crazy experiments that you were afraid that it was going to take over the cheese cave? You'd open the door and it would just be like,
like this K-pop, man. Like, what is this, Ghostbuster?
Yes, could be, possibly.
Well, I mean, I don't have firm statistics because we, not everything can be tracked in R&D like that. But I would say in general, only 10% of what we work on actually goes anywhere. So that if that gives you any frame of reference for the stuff that doesn't, it's most of it. And I've had some interesting experiences. I mean, I've had cheese crawl away, crawl off the board. We've had, all kinds of hairy cheese, every color of the rainbow that you can imagine. I mean, it's a living thing, a living, breathing community. Cheese is, and a lot of things can go sideways, and that's sometimes challenging, but it's always exciting.
Yeah. I have to
a really
ask.
cool comment here. So you can one second. Just a really cool comment of there's somebody, Amy Belling, who lived a block away from Emmy Roth, and she just thought it was a treat to see inside the plant. Her grandpa made cheese in Greene County, arriving in the 20s. He learned in Switzerland, and just seeing, just to be able to see inside the plant and bring it all together, really pretty sweet. And so to live a block away and to be able to see your hometown cheesemaker and have that connection, to that historical connection, just really cool. I love those kind of stories, to be honest. Just the people in our communities making these connections to the food that they may live so close to that they don't know everything about, or they're not totally familiar with, and now they can make that connection, and just love those stories. Sorry, Luke.
No, I was gonna say, like, on that same vein, and I want to ask you both, frankly, like, you are representing and working in a field in Wisconsin that is so closely linked with the word heritage, right? Like, we have a strong cheese, we have a strong dairy heritage here, and you're unconventional faces for the dairy industry, because you are women and you're young and you're vibrant and you're alive. What do you like when you wake up in the morning, Maddie, and you're going to the cheese plant? Like, does that ever like cross your mind? Or Emily, as you're marketing this, entity, this big multinational corporation that is Emmy Roth, like, girlfriend, you've got some leverage there. Like, that is awesome. Does it change the way you look at the industry? That's a two-part question.
It is. Maddie, you want to take it first?
I guess what I would say is, there are a lot of benefits to having this support network, and being able to work with the resources that we have, at being part of Emmy Roth, and that goes a long way in allowing me to be able to do my job and support our cheesemakers and our production teams. So I'm thankful to have those connections and, be able to draw from a pool of knowledge and people that are always willing and ready to help. It goes a long way. And so I try to take advantage of it and, every way I can, by learning and by bettering myself and trying to soak up some of that knowledge and experience along the way.
Yeah, and I'm really lucky because in the marketing team, there's 10 of us and we're all women. So I do think it changes the industry. We change the standards, we change the culture. I think that, I actually came into the industry about 8-9 years ago as a writer. I was a journalist. It was my first life. And an introduction to the industry in that way, I'm sure would be very different now. To go in and work for the same paper and write about what they write about, I'm sure that has evolved. So to answer your question, I'm less surprised. We have people like Maddie, we have, other titans in the industry like Marika, right? We've had people out there that, strong women leading us, and that goes for everybody in my team too, and our leadership. And that also goes for the leadership at Emmy Group. It's part of our culture to be inclusive. But there's a disparity from what the industry used to be. So I think that it is changing a lot.
And to speak to that, I believe, if I'm pretty sure on this one, that there is one female master cheesemaker in the United States, correct? It's Pam with Satori. Is that, do you know that? I mean, I know that from like working with dairy farmers of Wisconsin, and that's something that's like kind of mind-blowing, right? That there's only one. But Madeline, are you going to change that?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. So Pam, there have been a small handful of master cheesemakers that were women. I believe Pam is the current active female master cheesemaker, and she's incredible. A very warm and welcoming person, and a good friend to have, definitely. It is something that I hope to, I'm aspiring to in my career. As long as I'm making cheese now and I'm part of that process, I am working towards that eventually. And we also have at Roth, we have a handful of other women who are working on the same thing and are just as much as me, if not more, will be eligible and definitely will make it to that high honor. So I'm really proud of that. I'm glad that we have the folks that represent women cheesemakers at Roth, glad to work with them, work alongside them, and have some role models here and in the industry.
And so for those of you following along at home, I want you to take note of this moment, because this is going to be the future of what you see when we talk about Wisconsin cheese. It will be people like Madeline. It'll be people from Emmy Roth. It'll be changing the face and the landscape and the vibrant nature of this artisan craft that is cheesemaking that we take so seriously. So seriously that we have programs. We are the only state in the union that has a master cheesemaker certification, right? We take this to be our identity and our lifeblood. And I am so thrilled that I get to call you friends. I am so thrilled that I got to cook for you, to bring you out to Anaway Place. You know, that for me is this way to close all these identity pieces in together and, you know, really tell the story of who we are as people from the upper Midwest, because I think that that's a story that most often it's overlooked and undervalued. And being a kid from a small town, preaching specifically to both of you, I think that it's so important for people to be able to put their fingers on that identity piece and say, hey, I know Emily King. She grew up in like the Westby School District, and like that's a teeny tiny school in southwestern Wisconsin, but that's important. And I was in drama with Madeline Kuhn, and oh my gosh, she was like the best, you know, I don't know, Persephone that Copperstone City ever saw. But that being said, like all these little pieces of identity that the program that Arthur puts together with Wisconsin Foodie, like they really do, they strengthen our culture, and they give kids who grew up in these small towns that are oftentimes overlooked. Like, I'm from somewhere between Madison and Minneapolis or whatever it is. It gives an identity. And, you know, I think that Anaway Place is another great example of that. It's a place in Richland Center. You know, I've grown up next to Richland County my whole life. And then to go there and like stay in one of these cabins that are absolutely staggering, and to be on this property that like it's a 2-year wait to get into their spaces, and they're constantly being redesigned and redecorated. And you know, their family is so passionate about making those experiences world class. So much, in fact, that after we filmed there, Condé Nast actually featured them on one of their digital profiles. So like this is a worldwide publication pointing their finger right at Richland County, which is just mind-blowing for me. You know, so to be there and tie these courses, each one of those individual cabins, through architecture, through food, through storytelling, through love, you know, and to be able to serve that food to y'all. Oh my gosh, except for Arthur, because make me look inside.
You know, I love that. I remember packing everything up and leaving, and I was so hungry. What did we do after that? Because it's like a circus. When we packed that thing up, I mean, like, that was a production to get all that cooking equipment out of there, the chefs out of there. That was insane. What did we do for dinner after that, though? Because I know we all came back to your house. We went back to the restaurant to like drop stuff off. Did we go out for pizza somewhere? What did we do? I forget.
So
did we even
Grover? No, you didn't go out for pizza somewhere. But you know, what we did, I think, Arthur, is we took like the leftover snacks, and the for people who like are at home and to see a production like that. I forget how many people we actually had there. It was like a small ticketed event, and there were lots of folks kind of coming in and coming out. But you know, to feed that, it was like a 36-hour prep session where we brought in Kyle Julius and Lauren Montalbano, and we had Chef Mary, and we had Jason Trahan, the executive chef of the Organic Valley. Like, we were all kind of working in lockstep to knock this thing out. And then you do the event, and you're like, oh my gosh, like here's this emotional high where like I'm out there doing food church, and I'm, you know, talking to the lovely folks from Emmy Roth, and like I'm trying to not say silly things as I'm out there talking about the courses and making anybody uncomfortable or look silly. And we're filming a television show at the same time. So like all of my words have to be very carefully calculated, and like you don't get a second chance to say some of the things that you really need to say. And then you go and unload everything, and it's trailers full of stuff. And then we go back and we're sitting on, like, I have a couple of really beautiful like summer kitchens here at my house, and Arthur, I think we just sat up till about like 12:31 in the morning, and we had
snacks. We were passing around like a bag of snacks or something, like some sort of trail mix. I was so hungry after that. Oh, and I can't think about like, cheese and not getting the cheese. Dang it, I'm hungry now thinking about it.
Hey Luke, you want to hear a fun fact?
Yeah,
so
of course.
I needed a background. I did a photo shoot recently, and I was like, I really need a rustic background. And I was up at my parents for the holidays, and I looked out like in their backyard, and they live at, dead end road, ridge top, like nobody around. And I said, can I use that? And I pointed at their old summer kitchen. And actually that right there, that old wood is the door from the summer kitchen from their farm. And I used it in a photo shoot.
So great.
Awesome.
I know it's that for me is like the place, like this summer when we were prepping that, I was so glad. I mean, when it's, June and it's hot and you don't want to be in a conventional kitchen space. And I do want to say, like, we knew that this was a ticketed event, so the liability for me as a chef changes. We can get away with some things that we wouldn't normally be able to get away with in the restaurant. But like, to be able to get, down in your shorts and barefoot and do it a little bit like hillbilly style, because I am from these hills, and, feel really, really natural and comfortable in that. It makes a huge difference. But the other thing, to speak to the whole experience, Kyle Julius and Lauren Montalbano are fantastic chefs. Kyle has a catering company. Lauren is also, the Vibrant Veg, her own catering company. She's a vegan. Kyle is not, and they're like this diametrically opposed yin and yang that work together in tandem. But we did probably about a good 5 to 6 hours of foraging when we were putting this together. And I saw in the comments someone asked like that conveniently staged mushroom shot. That was a real deal. Like those oyster mushrooms were there, and we had kind of like walked through, and I brought the crew in on.
I'm going to take credit for that. I think I found the mushrooms. I think I can't take credit for much, to be honest with you. But I was like, can we use these? There's mushrooms right by this. This looks like a perfect camera opportunity here.
Oh, it was so fun.
Awesome.
We harvested milkweed blossoms. What
crackers did you make? What was the crackers that you made?
Duckweed. So we harvested like the green. I mean, people might look at it like pond scum, whatever. It wasn't scum. It's this little teeny tiny plant that grows on top of like still waters. And I had been reading about it all wintertime because it's a tremendous source of protein. And I'm like, man, oh man, I want to make sure that I get a way to try and like incorporate this in, because it makes me sound smart, number one. But then number two, like to really play with an ingredient like that is so prevalent and so abundant in the world around us, and like so good for you. So yeah, we dehydrated a cracker with the duckweed and made this like crispy little lavash and put trout on it. It was really fun. It was really fun.
Hey Luke, can I interrupt you for a second?
Please do.
A couple housekeeping things. So for the folks that are with us right now, if you waited out to the end, we've got a special treat for you. We've got a preview of next week's episode of Wisconsin Foodie. You all will be the first to see it, and you don't want to miss it. This episode is extremely special to Luke and I. I mean, it's a very fun episode. So I think everybody will like it. And there's dairy involved in it. The other thing is, I just want to take a minute. We're talking about a lot of women-owned businesses or food leaders in our community, and just looking over our underwriters. We've got Deb Carey from New Glarus Brewing, Liz Henry from J. Henry Bourbon. A lot of these folks here that we're dealing with the show are leading the charge. Like women are leading the charge in our local food world. And you go top to bottom. People like Rachel Kerr at Dairy Farmers, somebody that we've been working with for forever. Just fantastic. Heather Porter Ingwall, or the folks at Organic Valley. I mean, Tracy. It's like everybody that we deal with Wisconsin Foodie are women. I typically, I don't deal with any men. So, I think we're in the minority now. Me and you, buddy. Yeah. All right. Speaking of fantastic people, though, I've got a very, very special treat for everybody. Hold on one second.
Oh, yeah!
Anaway Place.
Good to see you all.
Hey.
Yeah, what a fun show to watch, and it felt good to be summertime.
I'm sure your internet blew up there. Your inbox is probably totally full, and now you're going to be booking out for 5 years.
Yeah, well, we had about 100 people on our website. Find a
200 people.
Yeah.
Right. Crazy. Thank you.
So Susan and Norbert, welcome to the conversation. You guys watched the episode, I would assume. What did you think of the episode and the dinner and your cabins? Do you think did we do a decent job representing everything, telling that story?
Absolutely. And how special to go into the woods and pick those mushrooms.
I didn't know they were there.
That was like, wow. So you did a great job.
It was so nice to enjoy the event a second time because, as host the first time around, you're just making sure everyone's happy, right?
Yeah.
And so this time around, wow, it was so well edited. And by the way, Luke, I didn't realize you had set us with that level of royalty at our table. I mean, that was amazing. You all call her Maddie, but I feel like saying Your Highness or something. I mean, awesome.
It works.
Yeah.
I mean, I think every guest at that dinner was fantastic. That was such a good time, and really a memorable experience for everybody. It was so fun to see everybody get dressed up, especially Maddie. I mean, Maddie, when we saw you, you were like, you had the mouth guard on, you had the hat on. We basically just saw this, and just to see you guys come out and look like rock stars was just unbelievable. So much fun.
Now I want to ask Luke.
Yeah.
Did you actually know that cheese gets washed on a daily basis?
I knew a little bit, but I had no idea that we had robots doing it. I mean, I grew up in like the 1980s where like you had that one little joystick robot thing with the arm, and it was pretty lo-fi. And then I saw the thing at Emmy Roth coming down the aisle, and I'm like, what is this? I'm pretty sure they edited it out, my initial reaction, because I was blown away. I had no idea that we were this high tech. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
To be a part of that and to know that there's that level of innovation with creativity, with hundreds of years of cheesemaking experience all combined in that beautiful, sleepy little community in Greene County. It's a point of pride.
Yeah.
So Susan and Norbert, are people staying in the cabins as we speak? Are there people out there right now?
They are. Yes. They got the fires going. They're well, I don't know what they're doing, but
Hey, by the way, I just have to say, I don't know how you orchestrate this so well, but to have this show aired on our wedding anniversary, it's just amazing. Yeah, 44 today.
44 years.
Yeah.
Your kids told me.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's a
What's
great
the hardest
story.
part?
What?
What's the hardest part? Is that what you said, Luke?
Yeah. Hosting that dinner, probably.
Yeah, I think so. No, we get a lot of questions. We get a lot of people asking, can we do it again? So I'm
Please let me know.
It was a really weird experience though, having Luke actually be the chef for the dinner, because I'm so used to being able to like have him for Foodie and be able to us be able to work on different scenes and do different things. But he was so focused on being a chef that night. And for Wisconsin Foodie, for the episode, it was such a different dynamic, right? Because we were almost doing this episode about a chef that's doing this dinner instead of him being the host. And it was really fun for us. It was a little bit trickier because I didn't get to eat all the good food. Usually Luke steals me the food and like hands it over to me. But no, I'll stop talking about it now. I'm salty.
He's so upset.
But no, I mean, it was such a different style, different, for us to be able to shoot that and then have Luke actually be the chef. It was really fantastic. I think, Luke, just to see you having so much fun, because now being the host of Food, we've taken you out of that world a little bit, that grind, that kind of that nightly grind of being a chef, and to be able to do that for these people and create this menu and honor the cheese and honor the grounds. Talk a little bit about the dinner, because the cheese wasn't necessarily part of it, right? I mean, we as producers, we of the show, this was something that you were going to do for Anaway, and then we wanted to really produce the show about Emmy Roth, and we were like, do you think we can fit this all together? And it really, and then we started that conversation of how can we put these two events together. Did that throw you off a little bit as kind of the chef, or how did you feel about like being the chef constructing this dinner, and then me being a producer saying, can we fit this cheese on the menu?
Yeah, I think honestly, Arthur, and I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here. I feel the most self-conscious when I'm making television, because it's something for me that for the past 20 years, I've developed muscle memory when it comes to being in a kitchen. When you go through the pattern responses, and I feel like my superpower in the hospitality industry is being able to anticipate what people need 10 minutes before they even think of it themselves. That's how laser focused I really want that experience to be. So when we do these one-off dinners and we show up at a place that's not normally a restaurant, and we have amazing people like Susan and Norbert who have put so much time and attention and detail with their family in curating this space that's an experience. I don't want to sell anything short in like the lodging industry or for people who represent the lodging industry, but personally, I don't find hotels usually to be that inviting. And it was actually talking with one of our underwriters, Tim, one of the owners of Crossroads Collective in Milwaukee, where we were discussing this psychological principle of biophilia, the idea of bringing the natural spaces into these spaces that we inhabit, and the psychological connection for people of feeling relaxed and at home. I mean, it's the same reason that Madeline has a plant behind her. It's this idea of bringing the natural world in. And to be able to write a menu that reflected my experience at Anaway, which was magical. I mean, I can't even tell you what it's like to wake up in one of those cabins in one of those February mornings where it's warm and there's fog coming off of the snow, and you can't necessarily tell where like the ground stops with the snow and the sky starts, and you're in this cabin of glass, and all around you you're enveloped in this ethereal dreamlike place. I mean, I've never had an experience like that ever in my life, and to wake up with that. And I woke up, I mean, sometimes when you get that creative inspiration, it's like, oh, this is happening right now. And I know that I sat down and I wrote that menu in probably like 20 minutes time, and had this ability to kind of link all these architectural spaces with food that was representative to that for me. And I really felt overwhelmed with the opportunity to be able to do that. And then I really, really wanted for, viewers of the show to be able to connect those dots with me. Because I think that is actually the most unique part of the entire experience. We went from this upstart female R&D specialist cheesemaker with the help of Emily King, this market female forward, new way of thinking about our most beloved industry in Wisconsin, celebrating their 44th wedding anniversary. And, you know, Norbert's mother came to this place, and there's all this multi-generational thing. And the Kellman children are all running around, and there's grandkids, and there's dogs, and, you know, there's Gil, and like, okay, this whole world is kind of coming together. And then we invite like 6 people and 3 cameras into it to just round it all out. And it's like, I can say as an artist or as someone who takes his creativity very, very seriously, it's as close as I can come to giving a hug to everyone who has the opportunity to witness it and express my love and my pride for this place and her people and the traditions that have been passed down to us, but then also like this beautiful, bright future that we have coming towards us. And personally, I couldn't think of it coming at a more timely, moment in the human experience when we're all just desperately looking for connection that ties us together. If we can find a way to weave cabins of glass in Richland Center and beautiful dairy farmers and great food on glass blocks by some clown from Lafarge, Wisconsin, like, hey, we've done it. We've done it. You're doing your job, Arthur.
What happened to the glass blocks? Are we using them for something? Are they at your house? What's going on with the glass blocks?
I like when you say, are we using them? Yes, we are using them. So they are in storage currently. And as I said last week, we have another concept coming online this year, and it's a dining club, and it's literally located in my yard, and I can't speak enough about it. I have some amazing architects and designers and stonemasons, and it's all wood fired. And it's my love letter to this place, to being home, to being in this valley that, I've known my entire life, which is really short in the spectrum of humanity, but man, oh man, to bring in other chefs and food artisans to tell their perspective through this lens too. Susan and Norbert, you've been horribly inspiring at the same level for me as Frank Lloyd Wright. I mean, honestly, to be so architecturally moved by people who live through their passion and share that experience with others, it's incredible. And you're doing it in Richland County.
Listen,
Susan and Robert,
just
how is,
how those fog machines worked that
Yeah.
morning.
It's all theater.
Since we last left you guys from that dinner, have there been any changes at the cabins? Have you guys did you guys complete the shop? I know when we were there, you were just putting the finishing touches on your little cabin store. But do you guys have any plans on building more cabins or anything in the future that people can look forward to?
Well, yes, things are always changing out here. We had a funeral for one of our cabins. Our first cabin we actually tore down, the original hillside cabin, which my younger brother built, and it was the one we started the business with. It has served us well. It's been there for 40 years, but we are replacing it with a gorgeous 2-story glass cabin, glass front. We worked on it today, and I just can't wait to show more pictures so you can see what this thing is becoming. We're not going to wait till it's done. We're going to give people glimpses of it. We don't have anything yet, really, and yet it's already booked, I think, over 250 nights or something. So it's people are booking sight unseen, but it speaks to people trusting us as well. So it's a good thing. So we're excited about that, and our store is doing well. Our store is so well received. On the property.
It's a great little store. I'm hoping to open it up to the public as much as we can. Right now, of course, it's just for the guests, but
yeah,
it's a good thing. Yeah.
And to be fair, that's Anaway Home, correct? So if you are on Instagram, you can follow along the store and tell me if I'm wrong here, Susan, at Anaway Home, correct?
Yes. That's our children are handling most of that Anaway Home, and they'll correct me if I'm wrong, but.
And you also have Anaway Place Instagram too, is that correct? So 2 different Instagrams, because there's an Anaway Place and an Anaway Home.
You know, I
Yes.
just don't know.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
The simple answer is yes. Both have Instagram accounts.
The kids really do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got
That's
some smart
fantastic.
kids, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you guys, it's getting close to the hour mark, and one thing that is close and dear to my heart, and I wanted to talk, like, one last thing I want to talk to Emily about, is our mission of sustainability. It's something that's really close to, like I said, my heart. It's something that I work constantly on trying to develop more policy in my community for sustainability, green infrastructure, and I just naturally gravitate towards that as a conversation. And I'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about that before we end this conversation. Emily, I know you guys are working on so many cool things at Emmy, and it's like, we didn't really touch on that too much in the show, but I would love for you to tell us a little bit about what's going on at Emmy, because it's worth like preaching from the rooftops.
Sure. Thanks, Arthur. So sustainability is now part of our fabric. We know that agriculture has, such an impact on our world. And so we want to make sure that we're doing it in the best way possible. We want to make sure that when you have a piece of Maddie's amazing cheese, you're so proud of where it came from because it's from Wisconsin, and you're so happy about because of the values behind it. So we have at Emmy Roth, in our, like I mentioned before, 3 locations in Wisconsin. We have really, really ambitious goals to take us through the next 5 years. So we're looking to reduce our greenhouse gas by 60%. We're reducing our waste by half. We're not going to send anything to landfill. In less than 5 years, everything you get from us will be in recyclable packaging. And we're working towards having, a net zero carbon neutral organization by 2050 and earlier, if I have anything to say about it. But we also look at sustainability holistically, right? Like, so we talk about our employees, we talk about our communities. Our sustainability is 3-pronged, and it's about just recognizing that in the state of Wisconsin, a state that I think everybody like that are on the call right now or, watching this, we love it so much and we want it to last because we're so proud of where we're from. So ensuring that is sustainable, it does mean making some changes, and it means evolving as, not only, operationally, but, also as a culture. And it's something that we can do, but we all need to do it together. And, Arthur touched on a great point. You get out and vote. Vote for the infrastructure that is going to take us, through the next 50 years so that we can make these changes. Vote for things that support our farmers so that they can start evolving their practices as well. And just be supportive. Look at that circular local economy as another great facet of sustainability, right? And so support organizations that lobby for all of these things that make our state great so that we can stay this way. But keep an eye out, check out Emmy Roth's website. I'll be blabbing at all of you as much as I can about what we do. And, we're really looking to come to the forefront, in the States, but also worldwide about how we look at dairy and, how we can be true to our earth, as well as continue to deliver this amazing meal to you. You're fine. It's probably another reservation because I'm sure by now you're booking out to like 2027.
Yeah.
And yeah, y'all buy Emmy Roth cheese, go to Anaway Place, book now, plan ahead. It is incredible. It was just a pleasure to be there. Watch Foodie and keep doing things that, support Wisconsin. Because everybody on this call is incredible at doing that. And, Foodie showcases it in an exemplary way. So
awesome. Did you see my script? You just said my lines there. Did you? You just read my script, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, honestly though, thank you for everything you do, Emily, spearheading the campaign for sustainability there. It's really important that businesses, both big and small, really start considering what their impact is on the planet, and especially when you're getting a company like Emmy Roth taking it seriously, that makes a difference. There's a huge impact there. So thank you so much. Maddie, before we go, how can people follow your adventures and your exploits? You want people to follow you on Instagram, or would you rather these fine folks not follow you on Instagram?
That's a good question. You can follow me on Instagram, I guess, if you can find me. Otherwise, watch the Roth social media channels, and you'll be able to see what we're working on and what is coming up and what's new. That's a great way
Anything
to.
new we should be looking out for that's coming up pretty soon?
There's always something new. We're gearing up for a pretty busy year of hopefully some new exciting products, and I'm getting ready to fill up those cellars with some fun stuff. So keep an eye out.
That is such a magical place. I've been to a lot of cheese caves, cellars, and that's just a magical place. I envy you get to hang out there every single day. So thank you for letting us in. I know that there was it's not easy to let us a group of ragtag foodies into a cheese cave like that, because you guys are so sensitive about the atmosphere, and to let Luke in alone. I mean, now your cheese is all imbued with Zamisms, So, but no, thank you so much, Susan and Norbert. Really appreciate everything you guys are doing. Hopefully, I'll be be out there this summer. I'll just pitch a tent and just hang out in the woods. So,
Great.
really appreciate you let us come out there and make this episode, and I really wish you guys the best of in the future.
Thank you so much.
For the folks that stayed with us, if you guys are interested, I'm going to play a trailer for next week's episode of Wisconsin Foodie. It's Luke. It's close to Luke and I's heart. It's our favorite. I don't think an episode's going to beat this episode. So sit back and enjoy this trailer, and we'll be back in a second.
Yeah. This week on Wisconsin Foodie.
Today, we're going to take a road trip across America's Dairyland to explore gelato, custard, and ice cream. And with me today, I've got two of the world's foremost experts, Ilya Ursink and Silas Zom.
So we're gonna make vanilla. I mean, if that's cool with you guys, Yeah.
Look at those little sugar smiles just light up.
Right, that smooth denseness, that's what really makes a perfect gelato.
This is the representation of ice cream in the entire state of Wisconsin. I have the feeling we're watching a master at work here. Hey-o! Have you ever had a customer ask to try and throw their own? Could I try?
Yeah, then just flick your wrist.
Best part of the day for me was when you start the machine for the first time in the morning. The mix is all fresh and properly flavored, and that first bit that comes out is just about as good as it can be.
Cheers.
Yay!
Hey. Okay, looks
So
like you have a backup career.
Yeah, exactly. What do you mean about backup career?
Because you flipped it, like first try,
Oh,
you flipped ice cream.
I
Yeah.
thought you meant like my driving skills. I was like, yeah, I got it.
Sure.
Now, it's really fun for us to, we were able to bring our kids out on this shoot, and it was actually over several days, and it's not that easy working with kids, but they did a fantastic job. I think I made one of the kids cry after a while. I can be hard on set. You guys do it again. So I made some kids cry, but we got to do it to take a shot. I mean, this is art. And if they take over someday, they gotta figure it out sooner than later. But I also, before we go, just wanted to do a quick shout out to our sponsors: Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin, Organic Valley, New Glarus Brewing, Conscious Carnivore, Something Special from Wisconsin, Central Wisconsin Craft Collective, Crossroads Collective, Local Food Co-op, J. Henry Bourbon, Rutabaga Paddle Sports, and the PBS. So thank you to all those folks. Without them, there's no us, and we're not telling all these amazing stories in Wisconsin and making these great connections. So, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Norbert. You should probably just unplug your phone now so you guys can sleep tonight.
Yep.
And can't wait to see you guys again soon. So thank you so much, everybody.
Alrighty. Good night.
Thank you so much, guys.